Hello, happy Friday to all of you. For those of you who joined my Monday Colour Spark, I looked at making pinks and adding whites to them, sort of from peach, sort of salmon colours to more dull blue, and then adding browns and greens in order to make the colours less sweet, sort of to take away that edge of very pink, magenta-ish, and the red, just to take it off that spectrum. And by adding gouache, white gouache, you create it makes it more matte. It makes it more opaque, even though it's not totally opaque, but it sort of takes away the inherent watercolor quality that is always transparent, so it makes it more opaque. And I'm going to do something today, which is a drawing project, and I will hope to incorporate some of the pinks as well. And but I'm going to draw using a dip pen and brown. So I'm going to find my brown on my palette here, and I'm going to sort of load it. I'm going to draw straight away, so it might come out a little bit wonky, and that is part of the process. You're welcome to join my process if you wish, as in sort of what I'm doing. In the last, I don't know how long I've been doing this, these prompts, but I've been doing a few of them as question mark drawings, and it's a fun way. It's something I've developed, a fun way to start drawing. It takes away the fear of the white page by having a mark already there, and by starting with a question mark and then adapting it into something else, you create just a sort of a different dynamic. So you don't see the question mark necessarily in the end. And what I'm doing is I'm gonna paint. Let me just load my brush again. So I'm loading with the brush, I'm loading the dip pen, and you can probably see what I'm actually doing. I'm creating a little piggy with little trotters, short legs. And it doesn't really matter if it goes a bit wonky, it actually makes it more interesting. So you don't have to make it sort of super perfect. It actually enhances it if it sort of has a bit of imperfectness to it. So I'm giving it a little sort of feet. And obviously it needs a curly tail. And they always have sort of floppy ears, so I'm gonna give it quite big floppy ears and a little eye and a happy little mouth and a nose. So there's my piggy, and I'll give it another foot because you sort of should be able to see it on the other side. And then while it dries, I'm going to do another question mark piggy. And again, you're welcome to incorporate this if you wish. So I'm using a question mark as a starting point. I'm giving it a slightly longer downward stroke. And then I'm drawing the piggy from behind, sort of starting from behind, and giving it its nose. This one's got a very long nose, and then sort of ending it around this way. So every time I sort of get a little bit more paint onto the dip pen, so there's not too much on it. So this one, as I said, is a little bit odd with its very long snout, but that's fine. It's sometimes good to just draw and then draw again and sort of let it develop that way, rather than sort of go with a pencil and try and get it right and then erase as you got it wrong. Because what that does is it enforces doubt too much. I can see the snout is a bit long, and it doesn't matter. I can correct it by drawing another one. It takes the same sort of time and effort, and I actually like it not being a sort of a perfect. As I said earlier on, there's enough perfect out there by sort of, let's make it into a mummy pig, by distorting it or just drawing it in this way, you will sort of discover other options, and sometimes not. For instance, the ear I could have done maybe a bit clearer from the beginning, or plan that better, or not have the top stroke. But that's just, this is sketching and playing, and I'm teaching another Imaginarium course starting Monday, and one of the things I really like to emphasize is for people to take time to play and take time to explore without knowing the outcome, without planning it too meticulously. So I'm going to give it some pink. It's not dried yet perfectly, doesn't matter too much. I'm adding a little bit of brown actually there, rather than making it too pink. But I'm going to get some red, and I'm just going to sort of make some suggestion of a piggy color on it. I'm not even going to paint it too perfectly. I'm going to add a bit more white, so you get that opaqueness. And that is possibly enough. What I'm doing now is adding sort of slightly, oh, that's too orange. What I'm going to do is actually counteract that orange. I'm going to add it, give it a bit of green, and that will make it into a sort of a duller, browner color. A little bit of hair or something got into it. This is the other thing. If there's too much color, you can move some off. While it's wet, you can actually redistribute the color a little bit by sometimes just by sort of indenting, making indentations with your finger. It sort of pulls the color in a different way, and then adding a bit more red, not too bright. Give it a tail, and there's my first piggy done. And in this one, starting with water, adding, this is quite magenta-ish, it's going to be very pink. There's a very pink piggy. And to counter that, I'm adding green, too much green. I'm going to add white. And then I get this, oh, this is slightly too green. Let's add a bit more red. And that sort of is a different effect. It's probably more green than I would intend it to be, but it's also okay. What I'm going to do is mop up some of the color. I just find the brush I want to use. Oh, sorry, this is moving a bit. So I'm using a paddle brush, and I'm taking some of my color away so I can redistribute it. So the brush I'm using is damp, but it's not wet, as in you can see it's a little bit damp, and that's suitable sort of for taking up the paint rather than a completely dry brush. And in here, where there's a bit of wetness from the brown, I'm actually moving the paint a little bit. So the piggy is going to be looking a bit sort of dirtier, muddier. I'm going to emphasize this by a little bit more brown, and using some more of this darker brown that I've had there. So I'm actually going to splatter a little bit. Should have more. The wrong pig got the splattering, so maybe not the best brush to do the splattering with. A better brush would be like a fan brush. So I'll just do that again. Here's a fan brush, and I'm going to do just a few sort of spatters in creating this piggy. So the one is definitely pinker than the other one. And I'm going to give it pink ears. And that's enough. It doesn't have to have any more than that. So there are my pinks and pigs. Pastel colors. You can see the demo, the color spark demo of Monday in the Facebook group or in the IGTV channel. They are all there. They get saved there. What I'm doing now is just add a little bit of detail. I'm using a dagger brush. It's a silver silk brush. It's called a ribbon dagger, and it's quite small and tactile. And now, to be honest, I think it's too much detail. I think it looks best with just that intense indication of marks. For this one, let's see. Let's make this piggy a little bit dirty as well. Add some little brown spot. Some pigs actually are spotted. It's not mud. So there you go. That's my session for today done. I will be back on Monday for a quick session, but my course starts then, so it will be a very quick session. If you want to find out more about the course, you can find my website in the links, or just go to estmacleod.com, and the course is Imaginarium. Zest is still available. It's free until the 11th of January. You're welcome to have a go and have a play. Okay, so for now, I'm going to say goodbye. Have a good weekend and make some time for art. Bye-bye.